Good time of the day, this is Valoria of Almost University. Unfortunately, there are currently no meetups of English Language Club in Anapa. The library is shut down due to the pandemic. I wish to publish this video in hopes that it will be useful in aiding English language practice for somebody. Stay safe and healthy. Distance yourself socially. Be careful, but do not panic. So, I decided this time to do a presentation about somebody not very well known, not very popular, about one of my relatives. She's my great aunt. One interesting thing that many people may not know is that word "ni." It means born as. So when somebody's last name changes, the way they write it is they write the current name and then like "ni" means born as. That makes sense. So a little bit about her. She was the first child in a rather large family. She was born on the 1st of May, although there is a little bit of confusion because at those times they know a little bit that it was around 1st of May, plus or minus a week or two. 1926. Her father, I'll talk a little bit more about him later, Andrey Demyanovich and Praskovia actually, I have known her mother. It's my great-grandmother. I have seen her, so she lived quite a long time. I don't remember her well, but I remember that I have seen her, I have been in her home. I sort of remember, I remember the fact that I've seen her, I don't remember her, so to speak. So, her early life, she managed to finish grammar school. I do not remember to which grade she studied. It was interesting. I went to her birthday party one time, and she kept remembering sneaking out of school to go smoking, or going to a locker to place where all the coats were, and doing this to all the coats, so the little thing gets ripped off. So it's kind of interesting when somebody who is right now 92 years old. At that time it was her 90th birthday, I think, and she remembers being a kid. Basically, it's a strange thing that everybody who is old now, they had that time when they were also a child doing silly things. Yeah, like I said, that she was the first child of quite a large family. They had a total of 9 children. The last one was born in 1931, and her father managed to be drafted in the first days of war because he already served in military by that time.
What is drafted?
Drafted, yeah. He went to army, so because he already served in military before that time, so he had some experience, and the first that they were looking for people who were still young and who had experience, so they drafted him right away. He only wrote 1 or 2, I think 2 letters, and he died somewhere. Probably it wasn't like in the war zone that he died. It was probably due to some bombing, and he just got caught in it and died, because last letter that he wrote said that they just gave them sailors' uniforms, and then that's it. He disappeared. There was nothing else. So she was only 13 years old when Second War started, and only 15 years old when Germany invaded USSR. And basically, as I said, her father went to military, so she was one of children who had to help her mother to help with all the other children, because there was nobody else. And they live. One thing I didn't mention, they live now, and they lived in Bryanskaya Oblast, so it was also one of the first places that came under occupation. So it was very quick. And yeah, German forces, German officers picked their house for theirs, and they let some of the children stay there sometimes, but basically all the adults they kicked out. And at the age of 17, she was selected for forced labor, and they first tried to take her. Her mother tried to save her from being taken. She took some acid and threw acid on her leg, hoping that it would prevent Germans from taking her. It did not prevent them. They still took her and transported her to Austria.
Что с ногой? What's happened to its leg?
She just dumped some acid on the leg.
Self-destroying.
Yes, I think it was her mother who did that. Yeah, she returned only after the end of the war. So basically for 2+ years, she worked in Austria. She worked in a factory. She did not work in manual labor. As I understand it, she was kind of a service staff that they selected. She was 17, so she was doing some work. I don't really know what work she was doing. Unfortunately, what happened is once she returned to USSR, some people decided that she committed a treason or something like that. She committed treason, and they wanted to send her to Siberia because while the war was going on, she was in Austria, and the only way she managed to get out of this is to marry some guy who was in the government, and he managed to get it all, sorted out. So that's it. They had 4 children. He actually died in 75. So it is an interesting life story because she was first child, the war, everything, and then since 75 she is again alone. Well, she had her children, but her husband has died. As of April this year, she managed to outlive one of her sons. Her son actually came to help her because she was in poor health, and he managed to die. And yeah, that's quite. Her health right now is not great, but it's not, for her age, it's not as horrible. One of the worst things about her health, funnily enough, is her leg. So yes, she has problems with the back, but if you, the second child in their family is my grandfather, and my grandfather health-wise is much worse than she is. She is much more active, so like if you go to her, she is not laying in bed, she's at least sitting down. And until recently, she was even trying to do some garden work, which is kind of incredible. She was like when she was 89, something like that, she was still in the garden trying to do stuff. Yeah, so current life, what I said, she lives in Počep. It's my grandfather, where she lives, Bryanska Oblast. She lives alone, but she's never alone. So her children take turns to come and stay with her because basically, like I'm saying, she's in good health for a 92-year-old woman, but she is 92 years old. So somebody has to stay with her because otherwise she cannot do many things that need to be done around the house. Last time I went there, she had fallen down, hurt herself a little bit, but things like that happen.
Anyway, she is a lady, a happy lady.
I don't know how happy her life was, but it was an interesting life. It was so she did a lot. She accomplished a lot despite all the hardships and stuff like that. And their whole family actually, it's quite an interesting how they managed to survive because. Their father disappeared in war, and one of the things that happened is because he disappeared, but there was no document saying that he died. So they were not giving them any pension after the war. They were not giving them any money, and they had 9 children, but only 8 survived, I think. So their mother just took 8 children to to the military office and said, we need some document because we need something. Whatever you want to give us, he's lost, he's dead, anything, because he's not coming back. So they gave him something, and then they start receiving some money at least. But imagine, a woman, 8 children. After the war, it's not an easy. It's very crazy that they managed to survive. They managed to come out of it. So it's not a story, like I normally did about famous people and everything. But I think it's sometimes interesting just to do a random person.
Of course. Why not? Thank you.
Okay, thank
I
you.
want to make a
It will be
presentation
good.
about my grandma.
To see some pictures from
I have. Let me try to do this. I will pull up my family tree because I have them here. So, no, it's not the greatest picture. It's a picture from my grandfather's birthday. Let me see if I have here. That's her birthday right there. And they gave her. Oh. Yeah.
Is it a birthday cake?
Yes. I think this is her. 90th birthday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah. So, that's it.
now complete.
Thank you. I hope it was useful for somebody. Please remember, by staying home today, you are helping elderly who need us not to spread the disease. Once again, stay healthy and be well.